Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. So today in this class we are going to discuss about demand. In this demand we are going to discuss law of demand, assumptions, why demand curve slopes downward. We are going to discuss with this three topics: law of demand, assumptions, and why the demand curve slopes downward. First, let us know what is the definition of this law of demand. What is law of demand? It states that other things remaining equal, the quantity demanded of a commodity increases with the fall in the price and vice versa. Here what does this other thing means here? Here other things means income, taste and preferences of the consumer, size of the population, distribution of the income, and government policy. These are the other things. When these things will remain constant only when the price of the commodity increases, the quantity demanded of that commodity will decrease. And the opposite, when the price falls, the quantity demanded increase. That is why we can tell the shape of the demand curve is always downward sloping. See, so this is the shape of the demand curve. This is downward sloping. So there are various reasons why this demand curve slopes downward. See, let us see this diagram. See, when price increases, your quantity demanded falls. When your price falls from, this is P0, P1, P2. This is Q2, Q1, Q0. See, when your price falls from P2 to P1, your quantity demand increases from Q2 to Q1. Again, when your price falls from P1 to P0, your quantity demanded again increases from Q1 to Q0. That means when your price is falling from P2 to P0, then your quantity demanded increases from Q2 to Q0. That means as price falls, your demand will increase. And that is why the demand curve is always downward sloping. Now let us go through the assumptions of this demand curve. Then we are going to see what are the reasons why this demand curve slopes downward. There are various reasons for the downward sloping of the demand curve. So we will discuss one by one. So now we'll discuss what are the assumptions of it. Now let us go through this assumptions. So the first assumption is what? There is no change in the income of the consumer. There is no change in the income of the consumer. See, while discussing the law of demand, we have told that other things remaining constant. So in that other things, what was the other things? First is income of the consumer. That income of the consumer will remain constant. There will be no change in the income of the consumer. Next is what? Taste and preferences was there. That one also will be no change. That means there is no change in the taste and preferences. Again, price of the related goods will remain unchanged. That means there will be no change in the price of the related good. And no expectation in the change in the prices. No expectation of change in the future prices. Everything will remain constant. So these are the assumptions that will remain constant. Only the price will change. These other things will remain constant. These other things will remain constant. Only the price will change. Then only we can tell that law of, this is the law of demand. Okay, law of demand is what? only price will change. Other things will remain constant. Okay, that means when the price will increase, your quantity demanded will fall, and when the price will fall, your quantity demanded will increase. So this is the law of demand. Okay, and other things remaining constant, this we are assuming that other things may remain constant. Okay, the other things will remain constant, these things we are assuming. Now let us move on to the next one, that why does this demand curve slopes downward? What are the reasons for it? We'll discuss one by one. Okay, first we are going to discuss with this point, that law of diminishing marginal utility. Due to this law of diminishing marginal utility, the demand curve slopes downward. Now what does this law of diminishing marginal utility means? It means that with the increase in the amount of commodity consumed, every additional unit of the commodity gives lesser satisfaction to the consumer. So, increase in the amount of commodity consumed, when more and more commodity we are consuming, every additional unit we are consuming, that will give us less amount of satisfaction. This is called law of diminishing marginal utility. So due to this law, our demand curve slopes downwards. Okay, that means more and more unit of commodity we are consuming, that additional amount of utility that we are consuming will give us lesser amount of satisfaction. So this is called the diminishing marginal utility. Next is income effect. So next is this income effect. What is this income effect? A change in the demand due to change in the real income resulting from the change in the price of a commodity. This is known as the income effect. Now what is the meaning of this word real income? Real income means when there will be a fall in the price of a commodity, then there will be increase in the real income. That means what? Your purchasing power will increase. That means what? Your purchasing power will increase. When your price of any commodity fall, your real income will increase. Now what does this real income mean? Real income means the purchasing power of the commodity. Okay, that means what? With the increase in income, you are able to buy more of the commodity. With the increase in this real income, you can able to buy more amount of commodity. So this is the income effect. Next, substitution effect. Next is substitution effect. What does a substitution effect mean? This means when the price of a commodity falls and the price of the substitute remains the same. Okay, what does the substitution effect means? When the price of a commodity falls and the price of the substitute remains the same, its substitute become relatively costlier. I'll just give you one example. Suppose tea and coffee. Tea and coffee, these two are the substitute goods. Okay. Now telling that price of tea falls, price of coffee remains same. What we can tell? That this substitute has become relatively costlier. this substitute has become relatively costlier. Okay, so this is called the what? This is called the substitution effect. When the price of your substitute falls and the price of the other goods remains the same, what we can tell? That our substitute goods has become relatively costlier because its price is same, but the price of tea has fallen. So what we can tell? Price of the coffee become relatively costlier. So this is the substitution effect. So in that case, what we will do? The demand for the tea will definitely increase and demand for the coffee will fall. We will not have coffee, but we will have tea. So this is one of the reasons that why does the demand curve slopes downward. So till here we end the today's class. Next class we'll discuss with some other topic, some other interesting topic. Now if you all have any problem regarding, or if you want to know something new about the subject, you can definitely message me, comment me what you want to know, and you can follow the page so that you can get the notification and it will be benefit for you, and also I can able to help you out. Thank you for watching this channel.